Episode 79 is sure to be the most significant in the entire history of the series. In it, we finally learn the important plot line, the conversation between G-Man and the UFO toilet. And this scene has the potential to radically change our perception of a particular character. In addition, I recently rewatched several old episodes, compared the details, and put together a general picture. And now I am almost certain the character recorded by the elite TV man in episode 74 is not PC Man. I will explain who it really is in detail in this video. However, there is one problem. At the moment, only 40% of the series has been completed. If we manage to see it this month, it will be a real stroke of luck. But there is also some good news. Debunking sent us a message with some details. As you know, Debunking hasn't worked on the episode for more than 2 months, and now we know that work is continuing. He is already working on the second part, and soon, perhaps, Debunking will share something with us. In addition, it became known why the episode was delayed. The fact is that Mr. Boom is currently moving to another country, and he is simply physically unable to work on the computer. Well, the third message was about the future of the Skibidi Toilet series, and we will talk about this very soon and most importantly, in great detail. So before you start, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you want Debunking to finish his work as soon as possible and delight us with a new episode. First, let's recall that very moment from episode 74. For a moment, we can see a character who looks very similar to PC Man, and the entire fandom still claims the same thing. However, after the release of episode 78, this assumption begins to crumble a little. As we learned, when TV men teleport, they can end up in a certain dimension. If they stay there too long, Jeffrey, who is the guardian of this dimension, can leave them there forever. This place holds many secrets. The only thing we know about it is that it can be used to see both the future and the past. Although that may not be the most important thing. Most likely, during teleportation, the elite TV man accidentally showed one of the guardians or a new character. This dimension shows the future, and we have not encountered such a character before. Therefore, it is possible that this could really be PC Man. But knowing Debunking, he may well present us with something more interesting and unique. Personally, I think the PC Man race will definitely appear. Even on the secret agent's desktop, the most prominent piece of technology is the computer, while televisions, speakers, and cameras are off to the side. And if we look a little further ahead, perhaps this race will have its own unique technologies. The first thing that comes to mind is hacking technology. It is quite possible that they will be able to hack Astro's toilets, causing them to self-destruct or be able to control them remotely. Moreover, it is possible that the PC Mans are somehow connected with the rescue of the Cameraman Titan. As we know, the entire squad and the Titan himself have disappeared. Therefore, we cannot rule out the possibility that their GPS was simply hacked and they were taken to another location. I would also like to revisit the first part of episode 79. As we already understand, the TV man Titan is aware of what he is doing but cannot control his body. If this is indeed the case, then perhaps his rescue can be achieved by non-physical means. Remember, you've probably seen many movies where the main character suffers defeat, but his family and friends begin to support him, and at that moment, he comes to his senses, finds inner strength, and becomes much stronger. So it's possible that G-Man or other characters will put moral pressure on him, in a good way, and after that, he will be able to regain control of himself. In my opinion, such a turn of events would be much more interesting than just another fight in which the Alliance must win in order to restore the balance of power. Perhaps Debunking will decide to add some new format in future episodes. Most likely, he himself notices that due to the long break between episodes, the hype is gradually subsiding. And the introduction of something unexpected, which the whole internet will talk about, could revive interest in the series again. For example, he could invite a media personality to voice one of the characters, or even introduce them into the plot as a toilet, as was the case with Michael Jackson, Walter White, and other famous personalities. Just remember what Skibidi Cat alone was worth. Although he only appeared once in the early episodes, viewers discussed him very actively. As a result, Debunking even had to add him back into the series, although initially he was probably conceived simply as a meme character. We have already discussed the second part of episode 79 many times. Literally every video brings up this topic, so let's move on and try to guess what the plot of episode 80 might be. At the very least, it's worth remembering that episodes ending in 0 usually turn out to be the most epic and important in terms of the plot. My first version is that we will see the return of the Titan Cameraman, but not as a combat character, but still as a wounded one. Perhaps he will appear together with the secret agent, and we will see them talking about their future plans. It is also quite possible that we will finally learn the meaning of that very picture from episode 66, which depicted the dead Titans, Speakerman, and Cameraman. To be honest, I am only 50% sure of this development because there is still no direct hint as to his whereabouts. Therefore, it is possible that his return will happen much later. Secondly, I think that one of the key characters will definitely die in episode 80. The series is gradually coming to an end, which means that one of the main characters will have to be removed permanently. It would be logical to start with characters who get less screen time and do not have as much influence on the plot. Let's recall episode 70, where two characters died, Dark Speaker Man and Plunger Man. However, most viewers were upset about Plunger Man, and Dark Speaker Man was quickly forgotten. Although he was considered an important character who even saved Plunger Man, it turned out that viewers loved him less. Thirdly, it seems to me that after the 80th episode, the Alliance will begin to dominate. Remember the 50th episode? Then the Titan Cameraman returned, who not only saved his base, but also destroyed everything in his path for several episodes. But when the Alliance became virtually invincible, in episode 60, Skibidi the scientist appeared with powerful weapons, who was able to calmly repel the entire Alliance army, albeit not forever. I think you already understand the pattern. When one side starts to dominate too much, the anniversary episode usually drastically changes the balance of power, and everything starts all over again. It is unclear what the Alliance will come up with, but at least they have an armada of speakers, as well as some secret weapon of G-Man's, which has not yet been used in battle. As for this secret weapon, Debunking said that it is partly a device and partly a character. What do you think it is? Write your thoughts in the comments. If you are looking for Astro's weaknesses, you should look not at the last few episodes, but much further back, to the beginning of the series. Astro toilets appeared quite a long time ago in the early episodes, and as practice has shown, the most effective weapon against them is acid. This is an Earth resource that Astro is most likely not very familiar with. In addition, acid itself is a very powerful and destructive agent. It is possible that Skibidi Mafia, who has already become a semi-titan, will be able to easily destroy Astro with his acid cannons. But then another question arises. Where to get enough acid to create an army of kamikaze or equip many fighters with acid weapons? At the moment, the Alliance does not have that many resources, and they simply do not have time to extract anything. I would like to believe that they have some reserves, although to be honest, this is unlikely. Well, one of the most likely theories remains an increase in the secret agent's screen time. Perhaps we will finally be shown all of his technology, behavior, manner of communication, and characteristics. However, most likely, this will not be done openly, because in that case, he would cease to be a truly secret agent. I am sure that at least one of the storylines I mentioned today will definitely appear in episode 80, unless, of course, Debunking decides to completely change the format and do something unexpected, contrary to viewers' expectations. As we understood from Debunking's message, in parallel with the second part of episode 79, he is preparing something interesting for us. As he said, he cannot share with us what exactly he is working on yet, but it is related to the future of Skibidi Toilet, and it is the most important thing that can happen to the Skibidi Toilet series. In any case, we can only wait for new information about the second part of episode 79, and I want to wish Debunking good luck. May he finish all his business as soon as possible and delight us with new episodes or at least leaked footage. Well, as always, this is your Super Cameraman signing off. Good luck to everyone. See you later.